To me, drinking is it's part of society. But when you become an addict, that's all it becomes. Mm-hmm. Everything else gets thrown to the burner.
Welcome to another episode of our Coffee with Kuda. I'm excited to have you guys join with us. We are here today with Bailey. How are you?
Good. How about yourself?
Not too bad, man. Thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it. I know time arrangements, finally we made it. We were supposed to come last week, but you finally made the time, and I really do appreciate it. It's important for us to hear your story, and hopefully your story can change someone's life. When I first spoke to you, you told me that you actually did not grow in a dysfunctional family, really. You had both parents at home?
Well, the one parent and a grandma.
A parent and a grandma?
Yes.
Okay. And what did your mom do for... Was your mom or dad?
It was my dad.
What did he do for work?
He worked part-time at a dam.
Okay. Yeah. And a grandma, what did your grandma do? Was she retired by that time?
Oh, she was 100% retired. She took care of the property.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Any siblings at home?
No.
Okay, so it was mostly three of you at most times?
It was just me, my dad, and my grandma.
And your grandma?
Yeah.
Right, okay. You had no history of substance abuse. Was your dad an alcoholic?
No. My dad drank, but he was what we call a normal.
He was a normal, right?
Like he'd work, maybe have a drink or two, go on, have a normal life, whatever, dinner time, have a drink. Like even when I was little, Christmas time, I could have a little glass of baby duck.
Right.
Like that kind of thing, but there was no addiction, right?
There was no
he was
addiction.
like what we classify normal.
Why I'm touching on that is because when you told me your addiction started very late in your life.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
What age, to be precise?
I could say about 45.
45.
Right? 2007 is when my life went from happy, joy to
correct
chaos, I guess is the word.
Before 45, everything was a casual drink. It was never alcoholism.
No.
Right. Before we touch on your substance abuse, let's just touch on real quickly when you were being raised. Were you able to finish high school? I
chose not to. I went to work.
You went to work. Okay. What grade did you finish high school?
9.
Grade 9. And what kind of work did you get into?
I got into the rails doing maintenance.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yes.
Did you know someone working there? How did you get connected?
No, I didn't know anybody. I'd have to tell you, with my raising, I was raised like you get a career.
Right,
exactly. That thing. And you get a career where, not that it pays good, a career that it's not going to come to an end.
Wow, yeah, that's a good point, yeah.
Working on the rails, you're out in the bush. I grew up in the bush.
Right.
So it was,
it's
not a job for everybody because you're not home. You live out of a suitcase. You go from hotel to hotel, you travel. Like I went everywhere from the beginning of the Ontario border all the way to the Quebec border.
Wow.
So, I lived out of a suitcase though, as we call it.
So tell me, what city did you go to high school?
Dundas, Ontario.
Ontario, okay.
Yeah.
And then when you were working this job, you're just on the move as much as possible?
Yes.
Okay. And your parents, your grandma and your dad are proud of you. You've got this job, you're working, you're getting some money.
Well, by then, my dad and grandma were already gone.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Who were you living with?
See, I lost my dad when I was 12, and then I moved to Ontario with my mom.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah, so I had a good life, but I just grew up with my dad and grandma as a kid. Right?
I see.
But the loss of my dad wasn't as traumatizing as everybody thought it would be. I had family that I didn't know about in Ontario and got to be with them and then still live
A good life.
a normal life, right?
Okay.
You know, some of the family did drugs. I tried it, marijuana, but drugs wasn't me.
Good.
And then, like, having the odd drink, yeah, it was a social thing.
Yeah.
You know, like every now and then, okay, it's New Year's. Oh, wow, wake up with a hangover. I drank an 8-pack.
Right.
But it wasn't, oh, craps, I got to go get another beer. Could go a week or two.
Yeah.
Right? It was, I call it normal. Like, to me, drinking is it's a part of society. But when you become an addict, that's all it becomes. Mm-hmm. Everything else gets thrown to the burner.
Yeah.
Right?
Tell me, when you were with your mom, who else was in that house? Because your dad passed away when you were 12.
Oh, there was her new husband.
Okay.
And then that's when I found out that I did have a brother, right?
Oh,
You know,
okay.
and then same with a sister, but different fathers,
Correct.
right? So, yeah. And the way I was raised by my dad, they technically weren't family, right? They weren't true blood. They were created through somebody else. No. So, yeah.
Okay, I understand. So, when you start working, you're now living with your mom and your new family.
Yes.
Okay. Are they proud of you for having a job, or are they saying, we wish you finished high school? From your perspective.
They weren't, I don't think they were disappointed that I dropped out of school, right? You know, like they knew I was going into a career, I wanted to make a living, and in times back then I found it wasn't, well, I guess you couldn't say it wasn't expensive or hard to live, but still to be able to pay bills and have what you wanted.
Yeah.
And then also, I was going on my own at that time. Right? I wanted to get my own place, right? And I did when I was 18.
Wow.
Right? Like the guy at the bank didn't believe me when I said I wanted to buy this house. You know, like nowadays a house, what, 600,000, and you're getting a beat down.
Yeah.
Me, I think I paid 128,000 for a rancher on 1 acre of property.
Wow. That's impressive.
So,
what's the relationship like with your siblings? Your newfound siblings? What are you guys like together?
we were there. We're a family of bonding, right? Like, family, like, sure, we'll argue with each other. We won't. You want to do this, I do that. Okay, yeah, whatever. Happy family reunion thing. Hey, good to see you. How you been? What are you up to? That thing. But you get an outsider involved with a family member, then you'll see my family come together, right? That's our bonding. So like, we didn't, like any family, yeah, we might not like each other, but we didn't despise each other.
Exactly.
But you live your life, I live my life, see you, how you doing, hug, whatever, shake hands, get together for a Christmas dinner or whatever, birthdays, that kind of thing. But after that, okay, you've got your life, I've got mine. Oh, you're in trouble now? Okay, now you got my attention. Right? Now, yeah, so.
So you, at 18, 19, you have your own place now?
Yes.
That's crazy. How do you progress with life? Do you get married? Do you have children?
Yes, I end up meeting an amazing woman. See, this is where it's going to hurt. Yeah, beautiful woman. Lots in common. Career motivated. We went out for 2 years, and she came to me and said she had 15 grand saved up. And we looked like we were going to be together. She says, you know, I've got 15 grand. You know, we should stop paying rent in this house and go buy one. So I told her, honey, don't get upset, but I own this house. I pay a mortgage. And no, she wasn't upset. She was a little shocked. It's like, what? You? And I go, yeah. And I go, yeah, I didn't tell you because I don't want a gravedigger. I want a woman that wants me, not because of what I can have. So then we didn't move. We did the research, and we had the house lifted to put a second floor on it instead of digging down. And then that became the start of our house. Then, yes, we got married, but fakely. We didn't want to spend, this is what I love about her. She didn't want to go and spend $5,000 on a wedding dress. She'd sooner put it towards the house, the same way I was raised. Like, you could give me $300 and go, here, Bailey, go get yourself some clothes. I'll go to a cheap place, buy a $10 pair of track pants, buy a $4 t-shirt, and then the rest, I'll throw into my house. Or whatever. Like, you never go out and buy, like, I could never see spending $300 on a pair of shoes. Right?
Okay.
Now, a pair of work boots, now that's where you want to spend the money, because you're going to be wearing these boots for 10 hours, 12 hours, 7 days, 6 days a week. You need comfortable. That I can see. But everyday life, as you can see the way I look, yeah. Like, I don't need the fancy jewelry or the watch or the Lamborghini. No, I don't need any of that. See, now I'm rambling.
I appreciate it though. It's very insightful and I really do appreciate it. So tell me, you guys, you decide to actually stick around then?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. And you have kids with her?
We had one.
You had one child with her?
Yeah, a boy.
A boy. Okay. So, are you guys still together? What happened?
Well, yeah, everything was going great until year 2007.
2007. Okay, yeah.
Right? I had a cousin who hung himself. That's what to think, but yeah. So that wasn't too bad, but he was one of the family members I was closer to. And then on the job site, I had my best friend killed, all within like a month and a half apart. And then I had another cousin hang himself, right? So that wasn't too bad. It was a little rough, right? Started to drink a little bit more than normal, but it wasn't taking over yet.
Okay.
But it seemed to be a thing to relieve you, depressed, upset kind of thing, just had a couple more drinks than normal. Then I was out on a cycle, and at the end of the cycle, that's when my boss came to me saying, my wife was dead. Well, that...
Your wife, you said?
Yeah, she died of a heart attack. That was nuts. That pushed me a little more than a little. About 2 weeks later, my mom dies of hepatitis C. Oh, right? Start to drink a little bit more. Work totally understands, right? You've had 5 people just fucking die on you, right? All within 2 months, maybe, right? Well, Christmas is coming. I'm still going to work, functioning, trying to control it. But again, yeah, still drinking more than what I normally did, right? Instead of waiting until after dinner time, now I'd have a beer for lunch, well, maybe 2, right? And then, yeah. Well, Christmas is coming. I get home and there's ambulances there, cop cars. Well, my son had fallen off a ladder, putting up Christmas lights, broke his neck. Now my son's dead. Well, you want to see a Scotsman get fucking upset? Well, then from that day on, yeah, it was fuck coffee, fuck tea, forget food, forget work. It was drink. Work tried to help. Ended up screwing that and lost that job. Didn't care, lost the house, had the credit cards. Ooh, that helped me for a while, right? Then the credit cards were gone. Family wasn't even close enough, didn't even care. Gave up and found out about BC not getting any snow, and that's a good place to be homeless. So, spent the last of my money on a 2 for a beer for the bus ride and a bus ticket to come out here. Ended up in downtown Vancouver. No clue of Vancouver at all. Ended up in New Westminster. Ended up getting a temp job. Would lose that temp job because of drinking. Go to another temp company. Screw that up. And then for some reason ran into a couple companies that liked my work. I showed up every day. They knew I smelled like alcohol. They knew I had a drinking problem. I guess Sums, the homeless shelter, real nice. Met some real decent people there. One of them's name is Kathy, still with her today. Great help. They tried to help me out. And then like there's Clark too, right? They'd see that I was drinking, and just hearing them talk would get me to smarten up. Then finally one day, like, okay, New Year's is coming, resolution time, right? I'm gonna prove that I'm not an alcoholic. I'm gonna quit. Well, what was I doing on New Year's Day? Unfortunately, this place, liquor stores are open. So, 9 o'clock in the morning, well, Happy New Year's, right? Then finally, February 1st came. Okay, I'm a month behind schedule. I'm gonna quit. I did. I went February 1st without a drink. It wasn't easy. But yeah, and second day, well, then I realized I tried to have a drink. I'm talking tea, right? But, right? Oh yeah, right? Then people at Sums, I went like 2 weeks. Boom, had a seizure. Had no clue what those were. Had no clue what it was when I woke up. Staring at a guy, wondering who he was. I didn't even know my name. I couldn't tell you anything. But as the minutes and time went by, I could tell my name, everything, this and that. They took me to the hospital. Boom, whatever. Oh, you're an alcoholic, yada, yada, yada. Injected me with some stuff, gave me a few pills. Out the door I went. Ah, liquor store. Right? No, sorry, I've already quit now. So yeah. Then Sums again was helping me out. And it was like a week later again, boom, another seizure. And then to go on, I ended up having 5 seizures altogether. The 5th one, they sent me out to a different hospital. I was in a different location, because I don't know if I can say their name, right? Well, this hospital, they were very helpful. They kept me in the hospital for 2 weeks. Really helped me out, understood that I was now almost 3 weeks sober, and telling me, like, yeah, you just can't quit cold turkey, this and that. But they kept me in the hospital for 2 weeks, gave me medications because I had no money to help me out. I went back to Sums. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting close to being a month sober. Clark, Kathy, and a couple other guys said, well, you can't stay on the street, right? Like, you're doing great, right? You're sober a month, like, congratulations. But you stay on the street, it's going to get you. You're going to go back. So they tell me about going to a recovery house. Recovery house? So they explain it to me, and they give me a list of all these places. Well, that name looks cool. Oh, no, you don't want to go there. That one's not good. This one, no, you don't want to go to this one. No, you don't want to go to that one. This one has this reputation. This one has that reputation. So I'm like, well, which one do you recommend? And they go, well, are you religious? No. There's no way. I was raised, yeah, no. Well, this house called Luke 15. They're Christian-based. They go, they think it would do you real good if you went there. I'm like, well, I'll give it a shot. He goes, yeah, you got to try, at least. You got to try, right? They're saying. Okay, well, if worse comes to worse, I'll see you back at the shelter in a couple days. So I get in there, and there's a guy, Richard, does the intake and everything like that, tells me the rules, how things go, you know. He was happy that I was a month sober and the thing, right? And what a great guy. Well, now I can say what a great guy. But the day we're doing the intake, he's like, you know, if you got any questions or any problems or anything, you can come and talk to me. That's what I'm here for. So I'd go to say something. Well, then he'd start talking, right? So then and then I'd go to say something again, and he'd start talking. And finally, I just wanted to go to bed, like actually sleep in a bed, right? Not on the ground anymore. And I'd finally just looked at him and go, yeah, screw you. I can't talk to you, right? He's like, why? Because every time I go to talk, you start talking over me. So we kind of had our little, but now it's been just under 2 years now. And the bond that I have with him, and like even Clark, and then Kathy, and then Nigel, like, I don't know, like, something's created us.
Yeah.
But I know being in this house, at the house of the Lord, he's doing something. So I have to believe in him, but I want more from him. I want, like what I've heard other people say, right? Like, show yourself, do something. But then there's, again, Nigel, well, he is doing stuff for you. Look where you are now. Look what you've accomplished. Look at what you've never done before. Look, that kind of thing. So, but yeah, you ask me a question or I'll just keep rambling, sorry.
What I like about what you've just said, you've said a lot of stuff, and I think everyone will pick up from whatever they understand from it. What's important from what you said is that some people may not understand. The hospital near Sam's, where you are talking about, is a hospital that is surrounded by a lot of addiction services. So a lot of people who suffer from addiction, they go to the specific hospital. So when you say they treated you like an alcoholic, it does resonate, because I've seen that a lot. So it's like, people are being treated like alcoholics, they're not being treated like a human being. That's because the area itself has a lot of people who are addicts themselves. So that's very important that you say that, because then it is the job for those people in such hospitals to understand that this is how the person felt when we treated him this way. Because when you went to a hospital that is in a different city, they are not exposed to addiction as much as this other hospital. So they are actually seeing you as an individual. Wow, he suffers from addiction. Let's help him out even further. Here is what withdrawals look like. Here's what seizures look like. Seizures can be treated this way. So being in a different city, it seems like it helped you and be treated differently. So I do want to just say that you made a good point, which I don't want to just kind of like skip over, because it actually is very important, and hopefully those healthcare workers who work in a hospital that is close to where you were in addiction, they can actually maybe not act like people who are overstressed just from these people who are addicts. Yeah, so thank you for bringing that point. It's a very good point. It is important for healthcare workers to understand how the individual feels.
Like the first hospital, I'm not trying to say anything negative about it.
Yeah.
But like you're saying, it's in a situation where it's surrounded by addicts.
Correct.
So they see them in and out, in and out, in and out, and they want to do more. You can see it in them, but they can't, because they're overwhelmed with the amount of it. Like this hospital, I want to say nothing negative about it. It is a great hospital, but unfortunately, with what they're dealing with, they have to have you in and out, because they got so much coming. The other one, like you're saying, they barely have it. So when somebody does come in, they can deal with it and want to help more.
I do have to give it up to the city. I hope they're still going to move forward with the project. I do understand there's another hospital that is being built in the same city. So let's hope that the project does finish well early enough, because the point you're making, man, it's incredible. And I know you're speaking out of emotions, but I do want you to know that it's a good point. And I hope healthcare providers can sit back and be like, it's a seizure. Let's treat it. Let's help the person. If they go back to becoming an alcoholic again, when they come back, we'll still help them the same way. So I do appreciate that. I don't want to miss out a point that you made as well about you losing so many different people that are very important in your life in a very short period of time. To be precise, it sounds like almost like within 2-3 months you lose all these people. And to be specific, how old were you? 45?
Yes,
You were 40
give or take numbers or...
So where I'm trying to touch on that as well, it's you've just taught me that it's important to understand addiction does not have an age. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're vulnerable to addiction despite your age. You did well. You're a casual drinker for 45 years of your life, but when the world came crumbling down, when you lost all these people, that's when it's important for someone to literally seek help, because they are not invincible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, I don't want to just skip over it, because you're right. It's crazy at 45 that you would succumb to addiction. But you know what? That's what the circumstances brought to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to touch on the last point on you seeking help and asking which is the best recovery house. And I do want to say, because I've been around enough recovery houses, that there are those that have bad reputation. There are those people who do it just for the sake of the dollar, right?
Yeah.
But I do hope someone out there can say, do you know what? Maybe let's put these individuals first. It's not about us, it's about the help we're giving them. So that point you touched, I know it's just a quick minute there, but it's a powerful point. Give me 2 minutes, we're gonna continue on this, okay? Let's just take a 2-minute break.
Oh, okay.
Welcome back to the show, guys. We're sitting here with Bailey as we speak. Before the intercession, we spoke about the importance of recovery houses in someone's journey to recovery itself. And I was just touching on how it's important that a recovery house does what it's supposed to do, because when you looked on the list of recovery houses, you were given this has a good reputation, that has a bad reputation, etc. So thanks for touching on that a lot, because I hope that it does allow owners of a recovery house to maybe to go back to their structure and say, hey, why are we getting a bad reputation? Let's work on our weaknesses. So thanks a lot for bringing that up, for sure.
Oh, no problem, yeah.
Today, Bailey, how are you handling your journey to sobriety? I know you're doing very well. You're almost 2 years clean. What is the journey like for you, and how are you maintaining your standards?
Find that a weird question, yeah, or... No, like how I'm doing, I think I'm doing, well, me, myself, and what I've had other people, yes, I think I'm doing good. I've taken on a new role. Like, that's why, like, I think Luke 15 is my new home. Like, it's just supposed to be but there's a couple people at the house that I know, like, I have my moments where it comes and all of a sudden I just able to talk to somebody, give them my point of view or what I did, and then have them at the end when I'm done speaking say thank you, or I like that idea. You know, like, that's what not being a total people person has now helped me to change, to become, like, that was one thing I was told, like, to recover you got to learn to do stuff that you've never done before. You got to do something different. Like, you've heard it, like, if you keep doing the same thing over and expecting a different result, then you're just doing the circle. I learned how to cook.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Like, don't get me wrong, I'm no chef. But if you would have seen me 20 years ago, yes, and now I've learned to somewhat role model. I'm not in a position to become a sponsor yet. I don't know. But, like, the thing is, like, since I've been at Luke 15, I've probably seen, I'm going to say minimum 200, 300 people come to the house. And that, but out of that number of people, I've seen one go to a normal life, like he's gone normal. Then there's another one, and then they asked if I could. I got their thing is a Dusty and a Danny. They're on there and they're doing great. Right? I actually talked to the one today, and yeah, he's doing awesome.
Awesome,
He's
yeah.
got a driver's license. He's got a great job. Like it's that you use to help promote. That's what works for me. Like seeing other people success, like Richard and Clark, 3 years, 6 years sober. You know, like it's not much, but that's more than what I got. And if they can do it, why can't I? So that's what I hope, like the other ones that are looking at it, like I'm just going on 2 years tomorrow. Like that's nothing. That's a spit in the bucket. But that's 2 years of soberness where you get to see. Like when you're drunk, you don't see anything. Everything's just a big blurring haze. Like there's so much out there being sober that to see and enjoy and dig. Yeah, it's not an easy. It's if it was easy, we'd all. But no. But the end result is well worth it.
I want to touch on a point you made again. You made very good points, right? And I don't want to just skip over them, right?
Yeah, I don't.
Like you spoke about learning how to cook. One of the first guests we've ever had on this show spoke about. He actually told me in person. I don't think he spoke about it on the show, but he said it's very important that when people are coming out of recovery, while they're in recovery houses, to learn how to do those basic things, learn how to cook. Maybe before you even leave the recovery house, buy a pot, buy a spoon, buy a cup, buy your utensils. Why? Because the moment you move out of a recovery house, these are the skills and necessities that you're going to need on a daily basis. So prepare yourself with the very most basic things. Though cooking is basic, but once you're doing it by yourself, you realize it's important, right? So you're no longer starving. So I do want to say that those tiny little things you're speaking about, I do want to say it has come up numerous times the more I speak to people who are coming out of recovery. And I don't want to minimize the importance of that.
Yeah.
And having someone to talk to who's done very well in life, coming out of recovery, it's huge to have someone who can say, yes, I want to be like that. Again, it's little things that people are using each other to say, yep, if they've done 6 years, I'm 2 years now, and I need 4 more years. But there's someone else who's done 1 week who looks at you and say, 2 years, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Again, I do
yeah.
not want to minimize that. It's 2 years, it's huge to someone else.
Yeah.
So I do want to say, man, keep up the good work.
Thank
Keep
you.
up the
Yeah.
very, very good work. I'm going to see if we can, and I know you already agreed to this, but to get you back on the show, because I do want to see how your progress is going at the house you're at right now. And I do love the fact that you guys seem to have bonded so well. How do you like to come back for the second interview?
That would be awesome. Like this is different, but that's what I mean. I'm sitting here and it's probably not just me.
Exactly.
Right? I know when I go back to the house and when I see my superiors, you know, they're going to be, this is what God wanted you to do, or this is what Jesus wanted you to do. This is what you're meant to do, right?
Yeah.
So
I appreciate you jumping on that opportunity, right, and not being scared of it. I'm sure it's not easy, but at the same time, for you to take that leap of faith and just to doing this with us, it's amazing and it's life-changing for someone who's going to be listening. I do want to say quickly, are you receiving any sort of counseling, or have you received any sort of counseling for the trauma that you've gone through?
No.
No. Are you planning on it, or?
No.
No. What is your reasoning behind it?
Scottish and raised to be stubborn, right? I don't know. I've tried it.
Yeah.
And I just find the way that it is, I don't know. See, this is going to look bad on other people. If you can go for counseling, do it. Like nobody, we're all different in a way, but my upbringing and the way I was raised is totally different. Like I love the counselor that we've got.
Yeah.
I enjoy talking to her on just a normal basis.
Right.
But to have to sit down and that just wouldn't.
It wouldn't work for you.
Wouldn't work. No.
So I wanted to make sure that I asked that question because when I spoke to you on the phone, you did mention the word stubborn as well, right? And I don't want to make it look like one pattern works for everyone, right? Because everyone is completely different. And I do appreciate you being absolute honest about who you are, right? When we do come back and do this again, if you do change your mind, let us know if you do change your mind. If this is working for you, if it is God, and I do like that you're putting God first. If that's your path that's making you go better, whatever works for you is exactly how we want you to present yourself.
Like if I can, I might not sit with a counselor and take that kind of sessions. What works for me is just having normal conversations, like just out of the blue. Right?
Yeah.
Like when I see her in the house and we talk for that 5 minutes or 6 minutes or 2 minutes, or sometimes when she has to 10, 15 minutes, that can be classified as,
Your own version of counseling.
yes, that's the, like that's what's doing. And then other people in the house, like Clark, Richard, Nat, Nigel, even some of the guys that are underneath me, when I can sit and talk to them and vent or get emotional or whatever, that is counseling to me.
And you know what, though? That's a very important point as well. It's easy for men to say, I got this by myself. But for someone to say, do you know what? I want someone to talk to. It's already a big step in itself. I only want to commend that because the idea of loneliness is huge amongst people who suffer from addiction. Being lonely is one of the reasons that keeps them in addiction. When there's someone to talk to, maybe we're not talking about my problems necessarily, but the fact that I can just talk to you and have 10 minutes of you listening to me, that's already a big step for someone. So again, I do not want to minimize that because it's great that you're saying that. A lot of people suffer from loneliness. So I appreciate you coming through.
No problem, yeah.
Excellent.
But different things click though.
Different things click, that's exactly
Right?
it. Yeah.
Like I've heard some people speak and for some reason it's like nails on a chalkboard. And then you get someone else and you hear their story and it just, and you're into it. Like I want, but that's part of life. Like some people like a tomato, some like an orange, like I know some people are going to hear my story and be, nut bar, right? And other people I know will click and it will hopefully help them.
Right.
And that's my joy, is that hopefully one day, 3 years down the road, 2 years down the road going, I seen your story 3 years ago or 2 years ago and now I'm sober for a year or 6 months or whatever, like that is joy right there, right? Is knowing that you can help somebody. So
I know you have to go to work anyway, so I'm going to let you go. And I cannot wait to bring you back so we can talk about your life from this moment on moving forward.
Okay, cool.
Sounds good? Very good to see you, okay?
Yeah, nice to meet you, yes.
You take it easy.
Yeah.
Cheers.